Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It is me, Lisa, and we are here for another episode. On this week's episode, we have my friend Corey from the US. Thanks for joining us, Corey.
Yep, thank you for inviting me.
I'm so so glad that you're joining us. And I want you just to share a little bit about who Corey is. Tell the listeners who you are.
My name is Corey Garrett. I'm with Norwex. I've been a customer of Norwex for probably about 5 years. I've only been a consultant for the last just over a year. I have two kids, teenagers. Son just turned 18, so I'm not sure where that time has gone. But and my daughter is 13, so they're both getting older quick.
Uh-huh.
Allergy and asthma sufferer, which is what kind of got me started into Norwex. I can't use some of the typical cleaning products that are out there. And this was just a safer, better option for me. I'm an IT person by trade, so being in front of people and doing direct sales was not something that was ever in my career path or thoughts. I'm an introvert by nature, but working with this, it's kind of brought me out of my shell, I'd say a little bit. Not that I consider myself a people person, but it's opened me up more.
Yeah, I could totally relate to that because I myself am in a social setting, definitely an introvert. So, and then I giggled when you said you're an IT person because you know me, I love my
Yeah,
tech, right?
right.
So, all right. So I'm just curious. So how did you find direct sales and what made you choose Norwex?
So it started, I was invited to a party, probably like most of us here.
Mm-hmm.
You're invited. I bought their starter kit, uh, their basic product set, and started using it. Really liked it. Then I used it for a few years, but I'd say the person that I purchased from at the party didn't have a good follow-up because I never
Mm-hmm.
knew where to buy it again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I just want
uh,
to just draw attention to that because there are so many customers out there like that. And like they fall in love with the product like
right,
you did, and then you don't know how to get it again, right?
right.
Yeah.
Then I was at an RV show. Happened to be a Norwex booth there with a consultant working. And I just started talking to her about what I had, and she recommended some products, and I tried those, liked it, and then she did her follow up,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's like, well, you should have a party, and like, never thought about that, but okay. Had a party, and then we did really well in that party, and she's like, you should become a consultant. I'm like, well, I don't want to sell this. I just so the plan was just the discount, maybe some friends and family sell too, but then I started doing some vendor shows, and that kind of opened me up, being able to talk to people more because there's
Mm-hmm.
just a big flow of people generally at the vendor events. You're not stuck kind of
Yeah.
face to face with someone for a long period of time, but that's what got me started, and then that's where here I am today.
Awesome. So I know that there's many things that come out of our direct sales businesses, and we always have that one thing that we're super proud of that resulted from our business. Do you have something that you'd like to share?
Say my proudest moment is getting those connections with the people, whether it be at a party or this case was at a vendor event. I was doing a demonstration of our basics package, which is our EnviroCloth and window cloth and how it can clean windows. And this older lady, and I don't like to guess ages, but she just reminded me of my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was telling her about it, and she was all excited. And then I told her about how the cloth is made from recycled bottles. And she got so excited, she just started recycling. So she's like, well, maybe one day one of my bottles will be one of these cloths. And I was like, well, that's a good possibility. So
That's
just
kind of
connecting
cool.
with people like that is what I like most about the job.
Yeah. I find it funny because I have a few customers that I have met through direct sales. And honestly, I don't think I've ever met some of them face to face, but the friendships that you form, like there's
Right.
some customers that I get messages from all the time. Oh, look, I just went to see my granddaughter. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like,
That's great.
it's great, right? And it's like, thank you
Right.
for sharing. But it's like, yeah, I'm their spice girl, but they still think like there's a relationship, which is great because
That's
it's like that's what I want to build, right? I want
right.
to build like that know, like, and trust factor. So I like that. I could just
Absolutely.
imagine you're probably still in touch with that lady, right?
I am. Yep.
Yeah.
She's not a Facebook person, obviously,
Yeah.
but she does call and text. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Th- That's awesome. So that leads us into my next question, which is customer care. I know that you are a super powerhouse customer care person. And I know that this is one thing that every direct seller needs to have is a great customer care system if they want that longevity in their business. So can you share with us what do you do? Are there any tips or tricks or tools that you use to maintain a great customer relationship?
yep. So I follow the 2-2-2 practice. 2 days after the order, 2 weeks, 2 months follow up. 2 days just pretty much to thank you. Your order has shipped. In 2 weeks you received your order.
Mhm.
Was everything received okay? Have you used anything? What's your favorite product type thing? And then 2 month is just a care and then use tips. That's what I'll do. How to clean your cloths, care for them so they can last many years. To do that follow up, I'm using Project Broadcast for that right now. That's kind of my main follow up tool.
Mhm.
And I do have the Oh My High website now, which I'm actually loving. That was so easy to create. I wanted a website, but I wasn't sure how to create it and get it hosted and all that.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm in IT, but I'm not in that side of IT.
Right.
So, um, but they made it super simple. So I can make landing pages for people that aren't on Facebook and just send that out via text, and they can see specials and
Mhm.
whatever blogs or whatever I post for that month. I'm starting to look at PCATU.
That's new to me. So fill me in.
Okay, so that can do kind of like if you're familiar with Visly,
Yeah.
how that does scheduled post to Facebook.
Hmm.
This can do that also, but it also can then email directly from there.
Oh, okay.
So you can automate Facebook responses. So if you're doing a Facebook party, we'll say you can tag a post that you did, say it's like a welcome post,
Hmm.
and then you can tag that. So as new members come in, it'll welcome them and tag them in that post automatically and just kind of keep the algorithm going. Because as we all know, Facebook is getting a little crazy to deal with, and keep
Hmm.
your algorithm up so your customers see what you're actually posting.
Yeah. Facebook is, I have a
Mm,
love-hate relationship with Facebook, let me tell you.
right. I recently started Instagram. That's kind of new for me learning, but seems to be getting some traction. So that's another tool I'm using.
Hmm. So do you think that what is PKU or
PCATU. Yeah,
PCATU?
yeah.
Do you think that that's going to be affected by this third party ban
The
that they're
whole
putting up?
so
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be because it uses the Google Chrome extension.
Okay.
It doesn't post the same way like Visly or what's the other one, SynthShare, or those type of things use.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to get the your link, or if you have a
Okay.
referral link, I'll get
Yep,
that
I,
from you
I
to
have that.
post it. Yeah, we'll post that in the show notes if anybody wants to check that out because I know that that's a huge issue
It's
that many
right,
people are facing right now. Like I mean, a lot of people rely on that on stuff like SynthShare
right.
and I know even things like boards, they're having issues with
Yep,
their links being posted. So if we can find anything that helps us run our business easy that Facebook isn't going to ban, like
right.
I'm all for that. So
Yeah, I'm still getting lots of Visly failure posts because it says Facebook had an error. So I'm guessing that's just
yeah.
more of what's going to come.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it is a free platform and I think we've rode the wave quite a bit on it for it being a free
Right.
platform. So I I don't know. I recently have just tried to shift more from my closed groups into my business page. And
Okay.
I was just talking to someone today, like I looked at my one business page for Digitally Direct and I had like an increase in what was it, like posts seen, like how many times a post was seen by 25,000%. And I
Wow.
had to look at that like three times because I'm like, does it really say? And it said yes, 25.1 percent. And I'm like, and it had the K on it. And I'm like, what? Really? Like that's like totally crazy, but I'll take it. Like, I mean,
That's great.
if the visibility is out there, so I think maybe Facebook is trying to throw the all the algorithms at the pages right now because of this change coming. But I guess we'll
Right.
see because the next thing could be something to do with pages. Who knows?
Yeah, that's at least with my company, we can't have a public facing group.
Okay.
So we all have to have private groups. So you can have a business page, but it can't be related to like Norwex for mine. It can be
Okay.
a cleaning page, but
Right.
I can't really mention or anything about Norwex.
Well, that sort of
I'd have to,
sucks.
yeah, I'd have to direct them to my private group, but I don't know, something to think about, I guess, to funnel them over, I guess. But
Yeah, like all Corey's cleaning tips or something like that,
right,
where you just and you're like you're using the product in the picture, but you're
right,
not really saying what it is.
right.
All right. So I'd love to know like how do you run your business? I do mine mainly online. Like what is your passion? Like where do you get most of your customers, do most of your sales?
So I get most of my customers from vendor events. I do, I think last year I did 18 different vendor events, most of them being 3 days or more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I get their initial contact, whether they purchase or not. I'll do like a raffle type giveaway, and then they sign up through the project broadcast,
Mm-hmm.
their information, all that stuff, and then I follow up. Then customers from the vendor events. I've done a few Facebook online parties, excuse me, but a few customers have booked events while I was at the vendor event, so
Okay.
that's done well. I actually just had a party last weekend, and she wanted in home, and that was my
Mm-hmm.
first in home event.
And I
So
bet you were saying, "Oh, yes, I would
I was like,
love to come."
yeah. She's like, would you do any event? And I was like, absolutely. And then she got 3 bookings from her party, so it's starting to pick up. So I'm hoping that trend just continues. But
I know I'm only giggling because all the introverts out there are like they totally know what we're talking about,
right,
right?
like how many people are going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But it was great. It was my first one, so I'm not sure how long they were supposed to last, but I was there for 4 hours.
Oh wow. I mean, they didn't kick you out. You were all good then.
No, it was good. Yep, it was great.
I bet her house was nice and clean when you left, though,
It
eh?
was. She's like, I didn't clean anything before you got here. I'm like, oh, great. Then I don't need
Well,
any of my demo tools. I'll just start cleaning.
that's funny because yeah, they expect you to come clean their house. They expect me to come and make them dinner, right? So, I mean, vendor events, I can see. So you said like 3-day vendor events. So do you take stock and sell it, or are you just trying to get leads? Like, how do you run your vendor events?
I take stock. I have quite a bit of stock. Um, that's my main focus is that's how I'm getting my sales. So
Hmm.
that's my main focus. And then a second focus or with that is getting the lead, contact them to follow up, and hopefully turn into an event.
Let's take that a little bit because I know that there's probably a lot of listeners out there, especially if they're in Canada, because project broadcast is really a new thing. This whole text marketing thing up here in Canada is new. It's like for some reason it's taboo to text people. So how do you use like the leads? Like I know on project broadcast, because I'm a project broadcast user now, that you can have like them fill out a slip by scanning a QR code and it goes
Mhm.
automatically into your system. What
Right.
kind of follow-up do you have with there? Like how do you reach out to your customers from your events?
So if they do it that way, where they scan the QR code for the entry, I'll just follow up whether they were the winner or not. And if they were not, one of the questions is, are they familiar with Norwex? And if not, then I ask them would they like to try a sample,
Mm-hmm.
and then yes or no, and then I will send them a sample kit in the mail. And then my checkout process, I use Square,
Okay.
and I'll use that for cash or card just so I can capture their phone number and their information.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll follow up after the sale that way. Same with my 222 type process.
Yeah. So to me, it sounds like you have a really solid follow-up customer care system, which is making you very successful in your business. I mean, that is totally the key of running any kind of sales business, not just direct sales,
Right.
right? I mean, you have to keep your customers happy
Right.
or they're not going to keep coming back to you. So no, I love it. I love it. And um, I'm just in the process of getting all of my customers migrated into Project Broadcast and doing that whole, hey, just wanted to see if you wanted to stay in touch via text message.
Right.
And like I said, Canada is a bit taboo, and probably 90% of my customer base is Canadian. So I'm like,
Mm,
I could see a lot of stops coming, but that's
right.
okay. I'm just gonna do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get a few stops too. You can't let that discourage you.
No, exactly. It's like I was doing another recording of a podcast this morning, and one of the quotes that Jamie was given is that, don't let the no stop you, right? Yeah, don't let the stop you. Just keep doing it because
Right.
as long as you're reaching out, providing from a service base, not like, hey, I want your money, come and buy this from me, but like, how can I help you?
Right.
Like, what can I do to make your mealtime less stressful? Then I know that I'm trying to help them with
Right.
solve a problem. So I think that's how you can overcome the fear of objections is knowing that you're coming from a place of service. So
Right.
I
It can be
love
hard
it.
not to take that no or stop personally, but you got to just let it go because I look at it as if I would have had that follow up initially when I placed my order, I would have known who to contact to get more products.
Mm-hmm.
I would have known how to take care of the loss better and all that stuff. So I look at it from that way.
Yeah.
They can tell me no, and that's fine. No, stop.
Yeah.
It's good to have the information and follow up.
Well, and it's so much easier, wouldn't you agree, to have your business running on great customer care than trying to go out and find the next new customer.
It's much
Finding
easier that
that
way.
next new customer, it's like it's just so daunting, right? And if you could keep a customer happy and they're a happy repeat customer, then your business is almost like it's not really on autopilot, but you know what I mean. It's like they keep
Right.
coming back for more because your laundry detergent, if they fall in love with your laundry detergent, they're
Right.
not going to go to the local Walmart to pick up like Tide or something like that,
Right.
right? So
Yep.
I love it. All right, so that leads us into our next question about quotes, because I was talking about asking Jamie for a quote. So, is there any quote or piece of advice that you've been given during your business that you think like everybody needs to hear? Like, if is there something that was a true aha for you?
So this was from a recent Norwex meeting with local consultants all got together. One of the leaders said, "Old keys don't open new doors," and that kind of hit me. Meaning you can't move forward using the old key, trying to do the same processes you were doing maybe years or months before that wasn't working to move forward. So you have to kind of shift and move
Yeah.
with the times.
I love that. I actually got the goosebumps when you said that because it's like it's so true because sometimes you feel like you're just bashing your head against the wall when people are saying, "Well, this used to work."
Right.
Yeah, it used to work, but we are in
Right.
2024 now. I know that it might still work, but you have to tweak what you're doing. It can't be exactly the same as it was in 1980 because
Exactly.
let's face it, not everybody wants to go to their mom's Tupperware party, right? I mean, things have
Right.
changed in direct sales and that's what I think what I love about it. I have to say I was not happy for the world to shut down in 2020,
Mm,
but I was happy from the results that happened.
right.
Like, I mean, if it wasn't for that shutdown, people like you and I would never have met,
Exactly.
right? I mean,
Yep.
I have built my network so far across Canada and the US because of that shutdown, because I had no choice but to go online. And then when
Right.
you start talking to people online, building that connections and those relationships, and it can be done online. It might take a bit longer, but you just have to be authentic and like talk to somebody like if you were in like right now we're sitting here talking
Right.
we're on the camera. It's like no different if we each had a coffee in our hand. It's like we're having a coffee. We just not face to face, right? It's
Right.
virtual face to face.
Yep.
All right, so last thing I want to ask is where can people find you?
can find me on my website, coryscleanliving.com. And from there, you can see all my blog posts, ordering links, all types of specials and things like that.
Awesome. So I'll make sure to link that in the show notes. And if anybody wants to reach out, and if for some reason you can't get connected to Corey, just make sure that you just message me and I'll make sure that you guys get connected. But I want to thank you so much, Corey, for joining us on the podcast. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I know that people are going to have quite a few takeaways from your customer care system. So thanks again, and have a great night. And thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast, or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.